Welcome to this week's Future Toolbox podcast. We explore the Z to A of life skills, where each letter stands for a topic and essential tool to help you get ahead in life. Meet Jules and Mark, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox, and enjoy their straightforward approach to creating growth mindsets that help people turn their dreams into realities. Whether you're a teen in education, a parent, a teacher, or part of a community group, start creating positive habits from today.
Hello and welcome to our latest Z2A podcast with me, Mark, and Jules from the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox.
Hello guys and welcome.
Now this is where we pick a letter and a topic and discuss how you can use our tools to improve your own personal development and life. So the big moment is, what's the letter this week?
We've chosen J, not for Jules, but J for job applications, because it is that kind of time of year for some students where they will be taking those first steps to finding the first job. And you know what? You never forget your first job.
No, not at all. I remember mine very, very well. Working for a building society, doing a very, very simple, straightforward office job, which was not particularly exciting, but the people were really, really good. I learnt a lot and I got promoted very, very quickly.
Oh, I remember my first job. It was working for a double glazing manufacturers, and I worked in the offices. I'll be absolutely honest, it was very boring.
Yeah, you do get to do some boring things, don't you? I was sorting mortgage statements out. That was my first job, and it was extremely boring.
I can't even remember what it was I did. I remember filling books in, and I think maybe it was, I don't know, sales that had gone through and done or something. And then I think there was my first ever introduction to a computer, but it was one of these ones, and guys, I am really going back in time here. They had cards that you put in them, and it was massive. And I used to have to sit there and tap away on this and print all these cards out. And I have no idea what happened to them afterwards. And you know what? I didn't really care either, as long as I got paid at the end of the week.
Now, I was the opposite. We always give this message when we do careers events at school and World of Work days and everything like that. My job was really, really boring, and I had to sort these mortgage statements out. But I knew that one of the processes I had to do involved calculating some figures, writing it on a piece of paper and sending it down the office to a lady called Sheila. And after about 3 weeks, I thought, I wonder what Sheila actually does with these. So one day I went and had a conversation with her, and I was just asking her, what do you actually do with these? And it was because it was a slightly different mortgage calculation. I'd done that calculation, and then she sent the amended statement out so the customer got the corrected figure on it. And it was a really, really important process because it involved people paying their mortgages off. So I had to do the calculation correctly. And all of a sudden I realised that day my job had a purpose. And because I was intrigued and I kept finding out things, that's when I got promoted as well after 3 months. Got a little pay rise as well.
Oh,
it's quite good, isn't
lovely.
it? Yeah.
But yes, how do you go about looking for a job? And I mean, when we left education, it was completely different then to what it is now.
Absolutely.
So how can we advise people how to apply or where to look for a job?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're focusing a little bit on teens here, but I actually spoke to a friend a few weeks ago who was not a teen, definitely double that age, and they were looking for a job as well and asked for some advice. So we just done a little bit of research of the best places to look for jobs. And also this is coming from our massive, massive background of working in recruitment and training, of course, because we've helped thousands and thousands of people get qualified and find their first jobs and start their careers off.
Well, a great place to start is to go round and look at the recruitment agencies. Now, there's two ways that you can do that. Mostly at the moment it's online, but they still, quite a few of the bigger ones, they actually have offices that you can go into as well and see what jobs there are available.
Yeah, and I guess it's an online versus in-person debate could really raise here and say which one's the best. Now, I always think that if you actually make contact with somebody face-to-face, then you actually have more of a personal connection. But obviously online's very, very convenient and it can get you a bigger reach as well. So as Jules is saying there, have a little look online. If there's a job that's locally advertised and they have a local branch to you, a local office to you, then see if you can actually go and meet up with that person. Also, some recruitment agencies work remotely, so you may actually be dealing with somebody who's working from home, and you could say to them, look, I'm really interested in this job. Is there anywhere I can catch up and have a coffee? So personally, I like the face-to-face. I think that's a good one.
Face-to-face is always better.
Yeah.
But that's not demeaning the online ones at all, because they are just as good. And also there's recruitment agencies that specialise in certain areas. So if you know exactly what type of job that you're looking for, so for example, if you wanted to get into healthcare, then there are certain recruitment agencies that specialise in that area. And it's the same as for engineering and all sorts. There is a lot out there, and it takes time and effort, but it's worth searching through online as many that you can find as possible, because the more that you can find and the more applications that you can get in, the more chance you've got of getting that all-important interview.
Now I'm going to go over to social media next, because this is a really, really good place to start looking for jobs. Now, we talked a little bit in previous podcasts about building your brand and making sure that your social media profile isn't loaded with negative stuff. It's almost like an advertisement for you, and you're putting yourself in, a little bit of a cliche phrase, but in the shop window, aren't you? In the online shop window. Now, most people think of Snapchat or TikTok or maybe Facebook or whatever, but the one that you must be on is LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is not a particularly exciting platform. It's not the one where you post your weekend pictures and say what a great time you've had or show off your favourite meal, I don't know. But it is a good place for you to go on there and actually connect with other people.
Yeah.
Now, do be really careful with LinkedIn, because we probably get about 4 or 5 connection requests a day from people that we have absolutely no idea they are. And they'll just put something really, really weak like, your profile looks great, I thought I'd connect with you. It's a bit wishy-washy, so having a really strong profile is good, but also having really good, strong connections on there as well, and making sure that your profile almost explains what you're looking for and explains a little bit about yourself. It's almost like an online CV, I suppose, isn't it?
It is an online CV, and that's what you need to be looking at creating once you go onto LinkedIn, because people will look at it and want to know a little bit more about you. There are some things that maybe you might be able to put on there that you couldn't put on your CV. So, for example, you would always have to create your profile with a picture of yourself. So that's a brilliant way of people thinking, oh, look, they look really smart.
Yeah, it's definitely time to lose the party pictures on this bit here, isn't it? And look professional. But you can actually go a step further on LinkedIn and record a video of yourself. So you can actually put your profile there, again, in that online shop window. But it is about making sure that your profile is professional, it's proofread. Get somebody who's really, really good at professional language on there, which is going to suit you, but not be too wordy or have too many long words that you probably wouldn't use on there. So make sure you get that really, really nailed, because that is a good place to go on. But also, stepping back to things like Facebook and TikTok and so on, there's still ways of connecting with people on there as well. And we're not going to go down the whole route of saying, start putting a professional profile on TikTok, put one on Snapchat, put one on here. But just make sure that wherever people can find you, you're putting stuff on there that is portraying you as a good person and building your brand.
Absolutely. And on LinkedIn, there are job applications, job adverts on there, so you can apply for jobs through it. So yeah, really, really key to have that profile as professional as you can.
One thing that we used to attend quite a lot was job fairs and career fairs.
Yeah.
And these still exist. So you, again, just look around your local area, find out where a job fair or careers fair is, because again, the biggest bonus of this is there are people going there who are looking to recruit. The next biggest bonus is you're going to meet somebody face to face. So it's about going into that room, dressing smart, dressing professionally, taking some CVs with you or business cards or something like that if you have those. And if you don't, having something that is going to give your contact details to that person and make you look really, really professional. But these are, again, a fabulous outlet to go and meet people.
There's also networking, which literally is what we've just been saying, because you network online, but you can also network in person. And that is going to things like job fairs or actual networking events where you can meet people and discuss what it is that you are looking for.
And networking sounds a very formal word, but it can just be as simple as just making sure absolutely everybody you know knows that you're looking for a job. Because the power of connection of people is so key. When we first set our business up, the first thing we done is we went around and told everybody we're setting our business up. I'm going to be honest with you. Let's take one of our products, which is a book, Don't Get Your Neck Tattooed. We told loads and loads of people we were writing that book, we were launching it, we were releasing it, we were publishing it, and it was available to buy on Amazon. We've probably told thousands of people, but there's probably thousands of people that we've told that haven't bought a copy of that book.
Yeah.
But the key thing is they know we've written that book, and one day they may want to buy that book. And that's the same if you're looking for a job or if you're looking for a business opportunity or something like that. Just go around telling people, make sure you don't shoehorn it into every single conversation or introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm looking for a job or something like that. But do let people know, just having a simple conversation. Jules, I haven't seen you for ages, but just to let you know, I'm looking for an opportunity in whatever. If you know anybody, because I know you're a very connected person within business, if you know of anybody who's looking for somebody like myself, let me know. And you'll be very surprised at how many people go, actually, I could put you in touch with so-and-so.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's networking. Something else that you could do, if you're looking to work in a sports shop or get into a sporting sort of environment, you could actually go into all the different sports shops that are available and just see if they've got any positions. Tell them what it is that you're looking for, and you could hand over a copy of your CV or personal statement so that they've got that. If they haven't got a position available at that point, they've got it on file for future reference.
Yeah, we used to find that was one of the most popular ways for teenagers finding part-time jobs or summer work, was just going and approaching those little shops around the corner from them or the local coffee shop or whatever it may be, and just saying, yeah, do you know what, I'm looking for a part-time job, I'm looking for an evening job or whatever it may be. And again, it is simply a form of networking, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, we keep mentioning this word CV. Curriculum vitae.
Yes.
That's a Latin word, isn't it? And it actually stands for, literally translates to, course of one's life.
It is. And it is you basically summed up.
Yeah, summed up on a piece of paper. Now, the hardest thing with a CV or a job application or personal statement is in a short few lines. It's really hard to sum you up as a person. And we've talked again about building brands and making sure that when you're building your brand, you have to have something to say. So there's no good saying, I have nothing to offer, because the guaranteed result there is you're going to be offered nothing. So make sure that your personal profile on your CV or your job application or whatever it is that you're applying for is really, really strong and sums you up as a person in a few lines.
Now, this needs to be your printed copy or your online one that you're going to send off. It needs to be no more than 2 pages, because having been in that position of interviewing people and you get a CV and it's 10 pages, you don't get to the last page. You don't get to page 4. There's too much on there. So yeah, keeping it short and brief, but to the point. So the first bit that you put on it is about you, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's the personal statement bit. So as we just mentioned, this is summing you up in a few lines. This is almost when you think about seeing an advert on the television, there's always a line or something that hooks you in or something visual. Now, on a piece of typed up paper or an online application form, you don't have the ability to hook somebody in with a really, really fancy, pretty picture or anything like that. So what you need to do is include stuff about yourself and include some key words about yourself as well. So what you are, who you are, what your strengths are. And it might even include something personal about you, maybe a hobby and an interest or whatever. Make sure that you're actually telling that person what you want. Now, it's also really, really key, if you're applying for 10 jobs, is to make every single one of these statements personal to that job. It's very easy just to copy and paste your application into loads and loads of job sites. It can become boring and tedious, can't it? But you need to make sure that you're applying for that job. Because remember, that person's employing you. They're not just employing anybody. So you have to tailor your personal statement to them as well.
Yeah. So, for example, again, let's go back to the sports shop. If that's something that you want to get in, it's an area that you want your career to be in, you must tell them that what your hobbies are, because obviously you would have some sporting hobby and why that's really key and important to you.
Yeah, and there's no good copy and pasting that into a job in a coffee shop and saying, I'm really passionate about working in sports, because somebody will say, why are you applying for this job?
Why are you doing this then? Because they'll just think to themselves, well, they're not going to stay. But if you are applying for a job in a coffee shop and it might only be a stopgap, it's okay to say you're interested in catering and being in that public face of helping people and serving people. Just tailor it a little bit.
Another thing to include on your CV is your qualifications. Now, if you're coming out of school and you don't have the qualifications yet, then put the predicted qualification grades on there. If you left school probably 25 years ago, the person's probably a little bit less interested in your GCSEs or your O-levels or whatever you sat there. So put your latest qualifications in there. And also include soft skills as well in this bit. So if you've done a first aid qualification or a sports leadership qualification or whatever that may be, That needs to go on there as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
But don't put your 15-metre swimming certificate on there. We did used to see that quite a lot, didn't we? Unless you're going to be a lifeguard, I suppose. But yeah, maybe sometimes things aren't always relevant.
One of the things that is quite good to put on your CV or your personal statement is your experience. If you are leaving school and you're applying for your first job, this is going to be a little bit difficult because you haven't really got a huge amount of experience working in that particular environment. But what could be an idea is to consider things that you've done that you can use to your advantage. For example, if you've done any volunteering or babysitting or paper rounds, anything like that, then you can use that to show what experience you are and how reliable you were doing that.
Yeah, we have a great example that we use in our career sessions when we're working with teenagers about a lad who was actually delivering leaflets for a local takeaway. Now, he said it was the most boring job in the world ever. But one thing he did was he was reliable because he stuck at it and he worked really, really hard at getting this job done as quickly as possible because he didn't really want to do it in all weathers. Now, one day he was putting a leaflet through somebody's door and a guy had a few words with him saying, "I don't want your junk mail." He almost confronted him in the street and had a right go at him. This lad responded by saying, "Look, do you know what? I'm really, really sorry and I really appreciate that you probably don't want this. So I'll just make a note that you live at number 42 or whatever it was, and I'll make sure that I don't put a leaflet through your door again." Now, 2 or 3 weeks later, when he was walking down the street, he walked past this house and the guy was just coming out of his door. And the chap stopped him and said, "Do you know what? I just want to say thank you so much for not putting your leaflets through the door. And I want to thank you because you remembered that I didn't want them." And he was able to then use that as a bit of experience. I was reliable and I also have that story to tell. And that links sort of nicely in with the next one, which is skills.
It does
personal
indeed.
skills.
Yeah. So when you're putting this together, it's worth spending some time and thinking about what skills best describe yourself, as well as what the employers might be looking for. So when you're reading the job application and what they are looking for, think to yourself, do you know, have I got them skills and where can I prove that I got them? So for example, we mentioned coffee shops, or you could be a waiter, or for example, or something. Now they will need to be good listeners, good communication, they'll be able to work with a team and be efficient. So there's 4 really great skills in there we'll have learnt by having perhaps a part-time job in a coffee shop.
Also thinking about how you react to people, because if you're the waiting staff or the person serving, you're not always the person that makes the food or makes the coffee or whatever, but you're certainly the one that gets the complaints as well, aren't you, if something goes wrong.
But it is worth reading the job description and what they're looking for and thinking about what skills you've got. Now, this can be really critical, whether it's your first time of applying for a job or whether you've applied before to other jobs and you're just looking to change, but really, really finding out what it is that employer's looking for and what you've got to offer from your experience.
Yeah, definitely. If they say I want a good communicator, that's the skill that they want to see on your application. Tell me you're a good communicator. I want that to come across on the application form or the CV or whatever it is that you're putting into them. I need to see that straight away. But don't just say, I'm a good communicator. Prove it. How are you going to prove it as well? Give them the example, and give them the example, which is really powerful. So I'm a really good communicator because I've done this. Now, I'm just going to pop one more thing in. If you're a teenager that has absolutely no work experience at all, and you're really, really struggling to fill this bit in, now is the time to go out there and get it. Jules mentioned earlier about volunteering, and volunteering is such a key skill to get. Find a way of maybe working for and helping somebody in their business. Just find a little way where you can add something to your profile that is going to add value to your life. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, I don't want to do this because it's working for free, or I don't want to do that really boring job posting leaflets through somebody's letterbox or whatever it may be. But just think, is it going to add value to my life? And the answer is pretty much going to be yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when we talk about your personal statement or your CV, it's also really important to think about the format of it. How are you going to present it? You don't want to have crazy, colourful fonts that change size or whatever.
Yeah, just make it as clear as possible, as simple and as formal as possible. obviously there's going to be some jobs that you apply for where people are going to want something that's a little bit different. So it might say, upload a 2-minute video of yourself talking about this. Or it might be something where you have to have a video call with somebody. And these are all things that you're going to have to be comfortable with. But unless it states otherwise, just go for something simple, formal and professional. And make sure that somebody has checked it for you, somebody who knows what they're talking about. Go and find somebody who works in the office and every single day their job is about churning out emails or churning out content which has got to be correct, has got to be proofread, and get them to read your CV for you. And this goes across the board. It doesn't matter whether you're leaving school or whether you're an adult looking for another job or whatever it may be. Just make sure that somebody else has read that, because they're reading it from the point of view of looking in the window, in that online shop window maybe.
So if you are in the market for applying for jobs, our last little tip is just to keep applying every single day. Apply until there are no more jobs to apply for.
When the world's run out of jobs, you can stop.
But yeah, just keep going. It is hard work and it can be a little bit soul destroying, because not every job that you apply for you will hear back from. Some you will, some you won't. There's nothing you can do about it. That's in your uncontrollable bucket. So just keep applying. That one job that's yours is out there. If you don't apply for it, you definitely won't get it.
That's a guaranteed, isn't it? Well, one thing you can do, you can apply yourself by going online to our website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk. There's loads of tools and tips on there. You can also find us on social media. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. You can also find our YouTube channel, and you can connect with us on LinkedIn, because we're
everywhere.
We are everywhere.
And that's what you need to do now. You need to be everywhere.
That's it. Go for it. So good luck, everybody, and we look forward to catching you in the next episode.
Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for the Z2A of Life Skills with Jules and Mark of the Future Toolbox. Don't forget to head over to their website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, where you can find lots of free resources, plus a host of books in the store, as well as subscribing to the membership site. Follow Future Toolbox Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Future Toolbox, and subscribe to their YouTube channel too.